Well, welcome to PTD Vinyl World. Today, I'm doing a thread that's going around that people are doing, showing 10 records that they don't think anyone else has. So, actually pulled a lot, got a little bit more than 10, so I'll show them anyway. But some of these, I'm not sure if anyone has them. It's just ones that I haven't seen shown before, or they're like either promo versions or whatever that maybe I haven't seen before either. Before I start, please hit the like and subscribe button. And the first one is this compilation called Reefer Madness. And it's just a bunch of like old blues songs about just drugs in general, because there's one called Cocaine. I guess I don't know if that's the traditional one that Eric Clapton covered or not. But there's other ones on here. Reefer Head Woman, Chant of the Weed, Blue Reefer Blues. It's kind of just like a novelty thing. But this next one is called Coppolatin Blues. It's a blues compilation of songs from the 1930s, all sort of like, at the time, I guess were considered like dirty songs. But they're all pretty funny, actually. So not sure if anyone's seen this. This compilation, I believe, it says 1976, but I'm not sure if an earlier version of this was ever put out. This is Johnny Guitar Watson, Ain't That a Bitch. Blues guitar player, but this is more like soul funk type thing. Not really blues so much, but he's most notable because he was a big influence on Frank Zappa, I think, in the 50s. He always mentions him. But I haven't really heard any of his other blues stuff. And this is Dweezil Zappa. This is his first single, 12-inch single, My Mother is a Space Cadet. I think he was around 12 when he did this. And the B-side is Crunchy Water. He's not listed, but it was produced by Eddie Van Halen. He went to visit them one day and became friends with the family and produced this first single. I've never seen this shown either. This is a band called Trooper out of Canada, sort of like a hard rock, melodic rock band. Their first album is pretty heavy. This is their first album. It's more like proto metal, more similar to like Black Sabbath or Mountain or something like that. As their albums went on, they got less and less heavy. In fact, by the late 70s, they were almost like new wave-ish. And it had some. They were pretty big in Canada, but I've never seen anybody show the first album. Maybe some of the people in Canada have this, but it's pretty good. It's produced. A lot of their albums are actually produced by Randy Bachman from the Guess Who and Bachman Turner Overdrive. This next one, Ted Nugent, Intensities in 10 Cities. It's sort of like a misprint type thing, I guess. You see the label on this, there's no song titles or anything, information. It's just a plain label. The other side has everything listed, but this one sort of an oddity. And this album has probably got some of his most known cringeworthy titles. Jailbait, I Am a Predator, My Love is Like a Tire Iron. So there's that. Next one up is Montrose. And it's a promo there, but it's actually a white label promo as well. So never seen anybody shown one of these. I don't know how rare that is because it is their first album. Next one is a band called Manitoba's Wild Kingdom. Never seen anybody show this album. They only had one album under this name. This is basically like the Dictators. It's Handsome Dick Manitoba on vocals. And also has Ross the Boss, who was with Manowar, on guitar. But this is sort of like a punkish hard rock party album, almost like if you remember Andrew WK. Kind of reminds me of that in a way, but it's still pretty good. I remember this getting some airplay, and even had some videos on MTV, Headbangers Ball. This is actually a promo too. I didn't even realize that. But I'm surprised it's not a more well-known album or an album people look for. But I don't know if it's ever been reissued or whatever. This is Peter Criss's first band called Chelsea. It's a pretty rare album. It's the only one out of the original 4 members that had an album before Kiss. And this is even rarer because it's not the promo copy. The promos are rare, are more common, I guess, because they were given out to radio stations, and when they were around, somebody actually had bought this, and I don't think it ever sold anything. Sorry, I had a lot more than 10 than I thought. This next one I've never seen shown either. This is Elliot Easton from The Cars, one of his solo albums. I think it's self-titled. It's on Elektra Records, and it's pretty good if you like The Cars. It's that type of power pop. Never heard anybody talk about this album or mention it, but it is a pretty good album. This one I got at a local record store, and I'm sure it was just a local album. This is Jody Bon Jovi, and this is John Bon Jovi's cousin, and it's sort of just like late 80s hard rock, hair metal-ish. Not great, but it's not as bad as you would think it would be. Trying to think. There's actually a couple songs written by her as well, but supposedly they don't have much of a relationship or whatever because he didn't help her or whatever, but I thought that was a curiosity. Black Oak, Arkansas. This is their first album. It's a promo, and it's also a white label promo. I got this at a guy who was selling a bunch of records, and this was in there. I just picked it up. I'm not a big fan of them. I actually have a few of their albums because I always see them so cheap. I just think they're okay. They're not one of my favorite bands or anything, but I've looked on eBay, and this is a pretty rare album, I would say. This next one is a band called Airborne, who had one album out. I believe this is 1979. Yeah, 79. And this is not the Airborne that came out a few years ago, modern metal band. This has Beau Hill on it, who went on to produce a bunch of other acts in the late 80s. I think Doc. It's also engineered by Keith Olsen. It kind of reminds me of Styx or something in that vein, but more AOR. It's okay. I'm surprised they just never had another album after this. I think this is the last one I have. Doc and Tooth and Nail. And it's a promo. And also a white label promo, which I would think is fairly rare. But that's it. Those are my 10 plus albums that I don't think anyone else in the PC has. Again, if you like these videos, please subscribe, and I'll talk to you later. Thanks.